Hello, everybody. Well, I'm gonna try to do this at the same time as I go live on Facebook, so forgive me. I tried before and didn't work, and I just want to be able to reach out to some of my friends as well on Facebook. We're gonna talk about the selves today. Right, so hang in there with me. Hang in there. Culture, ready. All right. I think we're gonna be okay. Yes, I think we are. We're good, apparently. So, well, thank you for those of you who are going to listen later and listen to what I just want to comment with you about the self. And as for those of you who don't know me, I am Laura Teo. I am an energy healer, an intuitive coach. I use really my intuition and a lot of love and energy healing to help people unveil their authentic self and discover their soul's purpose. So the authentic self is a subject that I not only like talking about, is that I really I really enjoy the process of witnessing when someone is really unveiling their authentic self and they are lighting up. They are showing who they really are. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk tonight about the self is because we need to understand how certain things work. And for us to be able to have a better consciousness of what's happening. So, the concept of the self, when we're talking about the self, is who you are as an individual. You separate from others, from other people. And in Holy Fire and Holy Fire Reiki, one of the things that Holy Fire does is help people reveal their authentic self. And Holy Fire Reiki is really an evolution of Reiki with an energy that is very pure. It's a spiritual energy that really creates a lot of wholeness and a lot of brings out the light within you through a process of purification, healing, empowerment, and guidance. So it is a very powerful energy, but at the same time is soft and gentle. And Holy Fire Reiki, I'm in love with it, to be honest. I am in love with Holy Fire. So it's a very refined energy that comes from a higher level of consciousness. And I started teaching Reiki Master. Let me put this on mute, I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. I started teaching Reiki Master, and we not only attune the students to the master symbol, they also get attuned to the Holy Fire. So they have the ignition of Holy Fire within them. So they have Holy Fire placed in them, so they can really experience the healing power of the Holy Fire. So one of the qualities and one of the things that Holy Fire does is work on the authentic self of the person. So when we are talking about the authentic self, look, every person, within each person resides a very powerful and extraordinary aspect of our inner nature that is really composed of pure light, is composed of an unaltered self. So it's like your self without any alterations is pure perfection, because it is that part that connects, a part of yourself that connects directly to God's consciousness, and it possesses the awareness and the power of that consciousness and the power of the universe. So it is really unlimited in its ability, to do, and the ability of knowing things. And this authentic self is who we really are. So for some people, maybe you have heard of the authentic self with another name, that is the higher self. So the higher self and the authentic self are the same thing. It's just that in Holy Fire Reiki, we talk about the authentic self, which I really like, because it feels to me as more within you. It's the way it sounds. Authentic self is, it is really within me. It's that light. It's part of me. Whereas within the higher self, it feels more far away. That's just a feeling. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily like that. What happens is that the more, as you know, we have talked before, our energy, okay, is very susceptible to emotions and thoughts and behaviors and beliefs, okay. So the more lower vibration we accumulate and we have within us that are not connected to that light, or is more disconnected to that light, to that awareness, that consciousness, the more distant we can be, or we can feel, with the higher self, or the authentic self. So it's like we covered it up. We cover up that authentic self. That's why I like saying that we can unveil their authentic self, because we put a lot of veils, we put a lot of walls that cover up who we really are, which is that divinity. So healing those parts of us that are covering up the authentic self is very important, because then you start showing up as you really are. So the energy of Holy Fire Reiki ignites that light within you, ignites that authentic self. And while you do that, it makes it very easy for you to perceive and to see and to experience your own light, your own divinity. So that's why students, when they work with, or they receive the Holy Fire, they become very aware of that energy. They become aware of their own light, that wholeness, that brilliance, as being in their body, being within you, as brilliant as the most beautiful star, as the sun, right? So it really works on all those qualities, or those virtues that you are developing, and you develop even more when you start working on unveiling that authentic self, and you connect to your purpose, and you connect to your truth, to your inner truth. So with Holy Fire Reiki, The authentic self is more present. It's more present even physically as well. You can feel it. You can feel the light. You can feel your connection to God. You can feel it within you, and it gets very strong with holy fire. So it's like you start also working on your ego, and you start developing then higher level of consciousness and more virtuous than before. And then you start experiencing more intuition and enjoyment and creativity and in your everyday life. And you incorporate all those things in your intentions, in your goals, in whatever it is you do in your actions. So let's talk a little bit about the culturally created self. So when a person is born, he or she is very dependent on the parents. We are dependent on our parents when we are born because we need shelter, we need food, we need clothing, we need care, we need protection. And this dependence creates a bond, a very strong relationship between the child and the parent. And in a certain way also, it starts to develop the child's identity as well. So the influence of the parents and the people around, the people very close as well, and school and other family members, they become that source of knowledge of what to do socially and how to behave and what is acceptable or not. So nevertheless, when we are kids are very aware of their authentic self. They're very aware, and if you notice kids, they are so innocent, and they do exactly what they want to do, and they say exactly what they want to say, with all those filters and all those that judgment that doesn't exist for kids. Things are just what they are, and that's it. So for a child, they are very aware, but what happens is that parents and people around discourage the kid from expressing their authentic self. And because of the influence of the parents and the people around, the child is encouraged to develop a personality that is more in connection, or is developed for the culture. Okay, what is it develops a personality more based on cultural conditioning. So when the child grows and matures, he or she becomes more identified with that culturally created self than with their authentic self. That is kind of like pushed away, put on the side. And the culturally created self has a much more limited vision of the possibilities, has a limited vision of what she can accomplish. And remember that what we were saying, that authentic self is that part of you that is connected to divinity, connected to the universe, and that is unlimited in terms of what it can do and it knows. So then you get detached from that authentic self and become more identified with the culturally created self. So it diminishes your own awareness. Another thing that happens is that as the child grows into adulthood, it becomes very clear that there are certain behaviors that are acceptable or not acceptable. So if, for example, the kid is angry, cries, there's screaming, they're fearful, they are impatient, they have fear, they have selfishness. Okay, these are feelings that often comes up, and if the parent doesn't know and the people around doesn't know how to help the kid understand those emotions and how to really manage those emotions, handle them, what the kid usually do is that they stop doing what they're doing, or they stop acting in a certain way, and they push those feelings aside. They push those feelings very deep inside to stay in place, and they become very unexpressed. Okay. And what happens is that when kids suppress these feelings, people then they say, "Oh, you're such a good girl. You're such a good boy." Or they talk to one other parent. "Do you see how good my girl is? She's perfect. She's like a perfect princess. Do you see how good my boy is?" And then they learn by association. Okay, well, I'm good and I'm accepted when I don't express fear, when I don't cry, when I don't yell. That's when I'm good. Instead of learning how to handle those emotions, they push them inside, and then they get hidden. They understand that, oh, this is unwanted, and I am unwanted when I do this. So they get unexpressed. They get deep inside, and they get unexpressed. So what happens is that when this behavior, this pattern can really become, or they can develop to a point when the person doesn't even know that they have these feelings. They become so detached to that emotion that it's not even in their awareness that they have those feelings, and they never express it. So they become dormant. We need to be able to have those positive emotions and negative emotions, and know how to handle emotions, know how to deal with them and understand them, because that's what's healthy. It's healthy to know what anger is, and it's healthy to know how to deal with that anger. But if they are not dormant, what happens is that the person loses the ability to enjoy a full range of emotions, and doesn't understand how to behave and to handle, becomes very inflexible, let's say, doesn't know how to handle certain emotions when they appear. When a difficult situation in life comes up, then it's all over the place, because they don't understand what it is to have those parts. So what happens then with Holy Fire Reiki is that we can heal those parts, even when the person doesn't understand they have them, even when they are not aware that they have unhealed dormant parts. It starts with a lot of gentleness and compassion and love. It starts healing those parts and starts bringing them into the person's awareness, and start unveiling all those things, healing those challenging parts, so that the authentic self can have the opportunity to emerge in a very healthy way. So these are some things that we do with Holy Fire Reiki. The self, the authentic self, has an opportunity to shine, to heal those parts that are covering up the authentic self. It's not about becoming detached. It's not about pushing those feelings away. It's really about understanding what's the source, understanding where it's coming from, why they are showing up, why it's important to accept them, because we are humans and we are a whole range of emotions and experiences, and we need to react to them in a healthy way. And understanding them, it's part of it. It's part of having more consciousness. With not only we understand ourselves, but we also understand others, and what may those reactions be coming from, what may those feelings be coming from, and allows us to have then more empathy and understanding. So healing those parts that are covering up the authentic self is very important, to then let that part of us that has high awareness, that has a lot of consciousness and is connected to divinity, shines through. And we live, you can feel living in your authentic self, living connected to who you truly are, is very satisfying. Um, it's like you loving yourself, it pops up in a very special way. So that's what I wanted to say about the authentic self. If you have any questions about it, if you have any comments, I would love to hear what you have to say. Actually, I would like to know, in which ways do you live your authentic self? Let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say, and what benefits do you think it will bring you to live within, to uncover your authentic self and live with it. So thank you. I want to remind you that Reiki master classes are available to be learned online. This is a class that takes 3 to 4 days. Normally it's 3, but if depending on the time of the student, it can be done in 4 days, and it's consecutive days. Because of the way of the placements and the ignitions are taking place, they need to be taken within a period no more than 24 hours between them. You learn a lot about the authentic self, about the culturally created self. We go deeper into that. We go deeper into learning about the 12 heavens, experiencing and getting the ignitions for the master symbol, for the holy fire symbol. We talk about using crystals in Reiki, using the pendulum in Reiki as well. We talk a lot about you as being a master teacher, a master Reiki practitioner. And there's a lot. It's a very, very beautiful and healing experience to go through this holy fire 3 Reiki masterclass. It's something that it becomes really clear to you who you are and why you're here, and your own divinity. Hi, Sima. So if taking that master class is something that you are interested in, you have questions, or there's something else that you would like to know about, you can visit my webpage, lauratio.com. You can visit me also on Instagram at I am Lauratio. On Facebook, you can find me. You can also look at some in my blog that I post interesting articles right there to help you grow in consciousness and learn more. And that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. It was a pleasure for me to talk to you, and thank you for listening. Take care.